I'll just give a brief introduction. Before I do that, I just want to welcome everyone, all 8, 9 attendees today. Thank you for making time available in a difficult time like this, where we're all facing this challenge of communication and all the shutdowns and lockdowns across the globe. But I think we have a new way of meeting and working through the use of technology. We are not limited by any situation that may arise in this time. Without any delay, I just want to give a brief introduction of Source Pacifique. Source Pacifique is a local startup, it's a social startup. It was launched in 2015, and we have 3 directors. It's 51% owned, and within Mana on the eve of the Pacific Games. We have a strong, world-class international ecosystem. So we take advice from, and we share views on projects or anything that may arise within the organization. Apart from that, we are new. This would be our 5 years. We are compliant with our IPA and our IRC requirements. Apart from that, although we have not really launched into a very big project, we have developed products for ourselves, and one of it is the private blockchain that we have, which is open source, and it's used for verifying forest diversity, and it can also be utilized for tracking health viruses with the integration of SOMAS, and also can be utilized for the African flu fever that's going around for the pigs. Apart from that, we try to source, as the name says, we try to source softwares or technologies that can be applicable in Papua New Guinea. We are not one stop for everything, but if we don't have it, we will look for it. We will try to look within our ecosystem, or we can source it and try to provide the best solution that will best suit your company, organization, that will best suit your need. So although we are a little company, we believe in delivering quality and product of value that may add value to your organization, and one of which is the DocuWare product that we have, where if you're having the challenge of paper, you have so many papers lying around and you want to migrate, this is one software you can utilize. So I will stop here and hand it over to the experts, and I'll
said we're PnG and the international ecosystem. My name is Pierre, in case he was missed. I was one of the founding directors with Stella.
Better now.
Thank you. So present in this call are Stella and Francis, as well as Philomena. As Stella also rightly said, we advocate for forest. We can hear the birds at the background of Stella's testimony. And we, in terms of technology, we think we have some level of leadership in the space of private blockchain. Beyond what we offer as our platform, name is c5v.org, in particular subject beyond forestry and biodiversity. We have had some really rewarding partnership in the name of for social and health and viruses, partnership with SORMAS, which is the leading research center in Germany, who work beyond COVID and cover as well African swine flu. Today's objective is to do a bit of a drill down into our partnership with DocuWare, also from Germany, which has more to do with document management. I believe, Philo, you're back online?
Yes, I am.
Okay, that's your turn now.
Just came back online. Yeah.
So you can take over, Philo.
So right. So we document management is a German software, and we have partnership with SORMAS, which is also the software that provides services for health services. And also we have forest and biodiversity. So this partnerships enables us to have a one-stop shop. If we're talking forest biodiversity, we have c5.org. If we're talking health sector, we're talking COVID-19, we're talking the American swine flu, we are talking SORMAS. And if we're talking document management, and that's where we are here today, we are talking DocuWare. And with DocuWare, it is a document management system. So when we talk about document management system, we might be thinking it's something big, but it simply means that this is a physical office, and in a physical office, we all like come from an environment which we have worked in a physical office. That's the same setup where document management says you can bring the same setup in a physical office into an electronic office. So there's nothing different. It's the same setup from working in a physical office where we have the filing cabinets, we have all the information, we have departments dealing with different information across the business. So that's basically where we are with document management. Let's talk about some benefits of, so on document management, if we have two different companies, say we have Lae Biscuit, we have Engel Hospital, we have Customs, and if we all have DocuWare, the document management system, then we'd be able to say we are all connected and we are sharing information online seamlessly. The next thing we'd like to talk about here is on the benefits of DocuWare. So we have DocuWare has a track record in the Pacific, which is New Caledonia. And in New Caledonia, we have about 20 companies, both in private and public sector, using DocuWare. And that has been a success story. So what does that mean for PnG? For PnG, it is also proven, it is also fit for PnG. Entry level, we can have smart devices which we can connect and do business as we used to in a normal office setting, which we actually need an office environment. And it requires light data to go online and work with DocuWare to process business information. Another benefit of DocuWare is the integration. So when we talk about integration, it's integrating with businesses to businesses, or integrating with business applications or the existing IT systems. So with DocuWare, integration is it's very simple. All you need to do is on all your IT systems, you have a little icon that's placed in either you're working with Microsoft Outlook, you're working with Microsoft Excel, you're working with an accounting software, you're working with a logistics software, you're working with a HR software. DocuWare is there. It's got a small button. You don't need to log into DocuWare. It's placed in all these Office applications. Similarly, if businesses are connected with DocuWare, it's the same approach in where DocuWare makes businesses connect seamlessly to send information in and out of the business. Another benefit of using DocuWare is that it has a central location which all the business information are stored, and you can access those information if and when you need that information, and you can access that information in real time with just a click of a button.
Yeah, so I'm responsible for the whole APAC region, and I want to show you today how easy it is to use DocuWare to get access to your information. And to share my screen, so you should now see it. So to show you how DocuWare works on a daily basis and how it could be integrated into your daily work, we invented a virtual company called Peters Engineering. And in this company, we have some roles and specific positions, like this one here is Peggy Jenkins' desk. She's responsible for accounting in this company. So we'll later see other departments, and they all have their requirements regarding a technology that digitalize all the processes. And for that reason, I want to start with one department now that you have a better overview. So Peggy Jenkins is, as I said, responsible for the accounting department. And the first thing I want to do is I want to show you how we capture information from existing documents and to digitalize it and to move it further into an approval process within this company. So Peggy Jenkins starts with DocuWare in a browser window. That's the first important thing to know. DocuWare is a very lightweight software. It's web-based, so you can use it in the cloud. You can also install it on your own infrastructure if you like, but in any case, you will use it through the browser. So there's no need to install local software on your PCs. So even if you do not have access to your own hardware, it's possible to use an internet cafe or just every internet-ready device to access your information. So also part of our philosophy is to make it as easy as possible to adopt for people. So we do not want you to, or the users to take 2 weeks of training and later on printing 400 pages of manual just to understand how to use a DocuWare. So we want you to use it in, I would say, in a smartphone-like way, very lightweight, very easy, very intuitive. And for that reason, what you currently see on your screen, this may be the most scary view of DocuWare you may see. So it is really neat and tidy. And we also use the language of the paper world to make it easier to understand what the functionality is. So in the upper left corner here, we have, for example, the document trays. And a document tray is exactly what it sounds like. It is like those plastic trays you may have on your desk. it's to pre-sort things, it's to temporarily store things. And that's exactly the same use case here in the digital world. So no need to be scared of. It could be a personal tray, could be also team trays where several people have access to, or in this case, it is intelligent indexing. It's a function tray. So it already does something to documents stored in there, but we will see this very soon. The next point here is the searches. This is the way DocuWare deals with documents. We try to avoid folder structures wherever possible. So we think that we should not define a document by the position where it's stored. We should define a document by the content or the context in which it stands. So, for example, if you're looking for a document, for example, like an invoice, you're not really looking for an invoice folder and a file cabinet of invoices. You are actually looking for the invoice itself. And that's exactly what we do here. We are talking about this is just for demo purposes. We are talking about maybe a company name, a document type, which could be, just scroll it down here. You see, it could be a contract, a bank statement, it could be an invoice or a letter or an email or whatever comes to your mind could be defined as a document type. So usually what you do is you have 3 pieces or 4 pieces of information. So I want to find an invoice from DocuWare from last year. So 3 pieces of information that is necessary to find your document. And we do not really care about the whole tree view hierarchic folder structures. So very easy to deal with, but we will see this in action soon. Then there's also the lists. Lists are proactive searches and dynamic searches that bring up results of predefined criteria. So you have here the document pool with unsigned delivery notes. So these lists are permanently screening the whole data set if there is a document type delivery note and the status unsigned. So if this matches, it comes up in a list. And if I click on that, you see there are now currently 5 unsigned delivery notes. So if the status changes, for example, one of those delivery notes comes back and is now signed, it will disappear from the list. Or if there is another new delivery note which is unsigned, it will just appear on the list. So it's a dynamic list. And you can predefine the lists for whatever you like. In this case here, for example, there are contracts with a due date less than 3 months. So you have your contracts in there, and it's very easy because DocuWare informs you proactively that the due date is now within 3 months, and you should act now. Otherwise, the contract is running out, or even worse, it's prolonged even if you don't like it. So this is the way you work with lists. And we also have tasks. Tasks is a workflow part of DocuWare. So it's not just about store and retrieve information, it's also about routing information to the right person on time. So currently here, Mrs. Jenkins, our demonstration user, she has no tasks. So we will change this now by scanning something. And scanning something is from a paper perspective, you could use one of those multifunctional print skin devices. You can scan your documents directly somewhere in the corridor at a reception of an office or so. But it could also be a local connected document management scanner to your PC, or as I use it very often, it could be also a smartphone, for example. So I take photos of travel documents like an hotel invoice or a petrol receipt, and I directly upload them to my travel expense claims from my smartphone while still traveling. So, but whatever way you use to bring information into DocuWare, it will first of all start in these document trays. And as you can see here, intelligent indexing was already active. The first thing that DocuWare always does is a full text recognition. Means everything that's on the paper on this document will be accessible in a Google-like search. So if there is a serial number or a name or something, just enter it in a full text search and it will bring up the document where it is included, even though you never entered this information manually. But also, this is not enough from our perspective. We want to make it more detailed and have it more structured. And that's what intelligent indexing does. Intelligent indexing was already diligent here. You see, it marks documents in a traffic light system. Green means good, everything has been extracted automatically and the mandatory information is available. Or yellow means there is something to clarify or there may be some information missing. And red, fortunately, there is no red one right now, but red would mean it couldn't be identified, or maybe there is not even any text on the document. In this case, it would turn up in red. So I will now move these documents into our file cabinet and also start an approval process just in one step. So you see now on the right side, this is the viewer window and it shows your documents. And on the left side, you have the document, the index criteria, which has been automatically extracted from this document. This is here only for demo purposes. If there is anything else you want to extract, this is just easy to configure and add additional information. So in this case here, you see DocuWare extracted the information that it comes from a company called Phone Wizard. It identified that it is an incoming invoice. We have a document number, which is the invoice number, obviously. There is a field missing now here, the order number. That's for a reason, because we have mandatory fields and we can also have optional fields. So optional fields may or may not occur on one document. For example, on a phone invoice, it's not very likely that there's an order number because no one orders a phone invoice. For that reason, the field is left blank and it's also not marked in red because it's okay that it's blank. So, but if there would have been a number, it would have been extracted automatically. So you can see all the mandatory marked information is green. So I could just click on store. I don't need to do anything. Same here. In this case, it has also been extracted, the order number. So this is also fine. I just click on store. Let's have a look on this one. This was the invoice or the document which has been marked in yellow. And that's because there's information missing and you need to clarify it. So you see the company name is missing. That was because it was a little bit distractive here with this logo and this Remit 2. So now I will enter the information manually, but only semi-manually. So I know you can't see me right now, but believe me, I do not touch the keyboard. I just use my mouse to enter the information just by clicking on it. So I just clicked with the mouse on this term, and it has been populated here in this field. And not just populated in the field, it also trained the software how to find the name. And the next time we will receive a document from storage experts, it will be extracted automatically without asking anymore. So also invoice in, that's correct. This one here is a new information, the document number. I click on it, and as you can see on the right side in the viewer window, it's now highlighted in yellow, and it shows me where it has been found. And what's also important, it does not look for the position of the information on the invoice or on the document at all. It looks for the context where the information comes, because invoices are all different. They may look completely different. They have a different layout, but still it's the same information you need from it. For that reason, having just a pattern of a position doesn't make sense. So it really reads through it and looks for the context. In this case, there was invoice number in front of it, which is obviously an indicator for an invoice number. And so it looked behind or below. Is there a set of numbers or characters which could be the invoice number? In this case, it was obvious that it's behind. So it took the number and populated the field automatically. There's again an order number missing, but I saw it. There is an order number. Our order hashtag. Hashtag is a little bit uncommon on those documents. So I trained the software now by clicking on it. And the next time anyone would use order hashtag, it will be proposed as an order number. So same with the due date, I just highlight it, and I could also add additional information and just click on store. So the last one is something I just store, everything is green. So this was the capturing part. You can, I did it now with invoices, but you can do it with whatever document you like. And this reduces the amount of time you need to store documents to an absolute minimum. So it's very automated, and it's, as the name says, it's very intelligent. So it really makes sure that the information is stored properly. But now, as you can see, we have now 4 tasks, because I wanted to have these documents approved from another department within my company. And first of all, because I'm the supervisor of this process, I have it now here in my tray. So there are 3 documents in the stage of assign a cost center. So find someone to approve this document. And one is already in the stage of pay the invoice. What happened here? Why is this different? I can open up this document. And now, because you may remember, with this document, it found an order number in it. And with the order number, it looked up an existing ERP system and came back with the information there was an outgoing order from my company, Peters Engineering, to Rapid Transport with these positions here. And the invoice we just scanned had the reference, the order number, and it also contained the same line items. For that reason, DocuWare's intelligent workflow made an automatic approval. It says, okay, it has been invoiced as delivered and or as ordered in this case. For that reason, that's okay to be paid and booked. So I can do this now. I just enter a pay remark and said it was paid by EFT, and I confirm. Let's have a look on the others. We were not that lucky because they have not been automatically approved. So we now need to enter someone to approve these documents. And I can do this simply with a stamp. So in the upper right here, there is a stamp box, and I can take a stamp here. And you see there is US Steel, for example, the amount. And I want to enter a cost center, so it means someone who has to approve this document. And I can just assign manufacturing as a department. Now you can see there is like a graphical stamp I can move around, and I can just place it somewhere on the document. And while clicking on it, it will initiate the next workflow instance, the approval at the manufacturing department. I will send the other 2 invoices also into this process, just to make you aware of that there's a little bit of traffic in the system. So I will now split this invoice to 2 cost centers. So manufacturing should approve it, and also sales should approve it. So I just take it and stamp it again. And the latest one here, storage exports, this is also something I just want to have approved. So now Peggy Jenkins sent all these documents away, and you see she does not have any tasks anymore. So we will now switch our virtual avatar, and let's have a look on another department. Let's have a look on the department of Brian Ford. Brian Ford is the head of the manufacturing department, and he got our processes now, and he needs to approve the invoices we just sent to him. So, and Brian, he does not sit in front of DocuWare the whole day awaiting invoices to approve. Brian will be informed by an email which comes through Outlook. So now he got this email. Dear colleague, a new invoice from Storage Experts Incorporated with an open amount of $130 has been assigned to you. Please process the invoice as quickly as possible. And you see all your workflow tasks here. So Brian has now 2 choices. He could either go into his task list to get a full list of everything he has to do. I can just click on that. Should be not too much right now. It should be only the 3 documents we just sent to him. But DocuWare is a platform, so it's not just for invoice approval, so you can have whatever you like. It could be notifications, it could be acknowledgements, it could also be reminders like your driver's license is running out, please renew this in the next 4 weeks. It could also be an HR related solution like there's an applicant for an open position in your company. Do you want to see or reject the applicant? So it is really very open in how you add your digital processes. So the list could be very long. So that's why we have 2 choices. So it's either here for the full list, or he could directly click invoice. So this would only open up the simple task he has now. This document from storage experts, and only his choices approve or reject. So in this case, he can't really remember storage experts. Never heard. I never bought something there actually. But he can see here your PO, your purchase order, Simon. This went wrong, obviously. Simon was probably Simon Stone. He is head of another department. So Peggy Jenkins sent it to the wrong person to approve it. For that reason, I reject it now and say the reason, this is not my cost center, but I'm a very friendly colleague. So I inform her it's Simon Stone. So makes it easier for her. So this would just be the approval or rejection of one task, but in this case, he would already been ready. So, but I want to go through the other 2 as well. So this invoice here is the phone invoice. It has been split to 2 different approvals. I want now to approve only a part of it. So I go here and click on the amount I want to approve, and it populates the field automatically. And I just confirm the share I want to pay. And finally, the last one here, US Steel. This is material for machinery. I know about it because I just came back from the factory, so I know the material is there and everything is all right. So I confirm this now. All right, Brian Ford did what his tasks were, and he can now concentrate back on his daily work. And we change our virtual avatar back to Peggy Jenkins. She should be now back from the coffee machine, and she now should have new tasks to do, which we will see in a second. So Peggy is got now, as you can see, 1 new task. She has now assigned a cost center again, storage experts again. Hang on, this was already something she did. Let's have a look at this. I open it up. Here is a red marker. Mr. Ford said, rejected for the reason, not my cost center, Simon Stone. All right. Yeah, this was obviously an error. So I can now correct my decision and say I want to send it to human resources because this, the head of human resources is Mr. Simon Stone. So I just confirm this and resend it into the workflow, this time to the right recipient. Now all the tasks are done again. Hang on, this can't be true. There are 2 more documents. Remember this phone invoice, this US Steel invoice. Where are they now? The reason why there are no tasks is Peggy Jenkins applied a filter that she only sees her tasks where she has actively to do something. But as the supervisor of the process, she can also monitor the tasks to see what the colleagues do. So I now see, here is the US Steel invoice, and it's in the activity CFO approval. Why is that the case? Because it was a very large invoice, and we put a rule in place that we said everything over a certain threshold of, in this case, of $5,000, will, even if it's approved by the recipient, it will be rerouted to get a secondary approval from the CFO, because it's a very large amount and the CFO should know about it. So that's fine. It's on the desk of the CFO. And also there is the phone wizard invoice, the other invoice which was missing. You see here, the gross amount was $857, and now the open amount is $614. So something already has happened. I will click on history to see what happened already. So the workflow started, and the first task was a user, Miss Jenkins, so obviously my demonstration user. She sent the phone wizard invoice with 857 to the cost center manufacturing and sales. The next task was a parallel task, and Mr. Ford approved an amount of $242.12, leaving an open amount of $614.97 to his colleague, Mr. Winner, who is responsible for the second department, what we clicked on this invoice. And he has a due date here for this document for the 17th of April. So it's basically plenty of time, another week. So we do not need to take action here, but we want to. I believe Mr. Winner, he went home this afternoon because he didn't feel well. Maybe he will not be back on time. So I will reassign it, because I'm a supervisor. I can reassign the workflow. I will reassign it to the colleague, Mr. Stone, and he should now sign this invoice free. All right, so much for workflow managed within DocuWare. So, but this is not all. What I already mentioned, DocuWare is a platform, and it provides solutions for nearly every department you could have. So this was an accounting related situation. Let's head on to another department. We will now visit Mr. Peter Sanders. And Peter Sanders, he is a sales rep, and he doesn't really take care about invoices or accounting processes. He is more interested in his daily paperwork. And his daily role starts with as a sales rep with communication. So this means he receives regularly emails he needs to store and to process. And so he starts now in his Outlook, and there's a mail from a guy called Thomas Rain. And Thomas Rain asks for a proposal for a roller coaster called Thunderbird with plenty of different modules. And also there's a drawing, a CAD drawing attached. So anyways, he wants to store this in DocuWare in a very easy way. So he just right clicks and says store to DocuWare. So now DocuWare screens the email if everything is in there which is needed to store it. This was nearly the case. The only thing which was missing was a project. And I defined here in this process, you cannot store, as a sales rep, you cannot store a document which is not related to a project. This avoids, for example, that people store, we call it dead information that you can never find again because it's not related to anything. So in this case, I forced him to relate it to a project name. And so I could just start now writing a project name, and it will populate automatically the field based on the information that there are only two projects currently at the registered at Flying Tom. And this information can be, for example, taken from your existing project management software, your CRM, your ERP system. So DocuWare integrates everywhere seamlessly. So I just store this email now. It's marked in blue. It has arrived in DocuWare. That's fine. So now I want to react to this email. I want to send a proposal to Flying Tom and Mr. Thomas Rain. And I prepared this proposal already here in Microsoft Word. So it's here, quotation for the supply and construction of a roller coaster. And I want to send this out as a PDF via email. But currently it's still a doc. It's still a Word file. So what do I do now? I simply use the printing function. So DocuWare provides you a virtual printer device, and using this virtual printer device, DocuWare creates a PDF out of this a Word format, which is basically a standard, but it also extracts the necessary information out of the document to store it in DocuWare. And also it looks for the recipient, which is here Mr. Thomas Rain, and the recipient should get the email automatically. That's why it also creates an email already addressed to Mr. Thomas Rain. So as you can see here, it's ready now. I click on that. It has created an email to the recipient Thomas Rain at flyingtom.com. It took the subject line from the Word file and populated the subject line field in the email. It attached the freshly generated PDF and used a standard text. So I could now add some information in the text if I like, or I could simply send and store this email. I forgot to mark the right project number. So if a number is missing, it asks you to add the information that's missing. So all good. The email has been stored. Everything is all right. But we all know how it is with quotations and projects. And maybe later on, I need to send an amended version of this document again. So I should keep the Word file as well. And what's easier than using just the save as function directly out of Word? And DocuWare simulates a file server, because we believe if you want to use document management in a proper way, you should get rid of a standard file server. And that's why we simulate your file server here, simulating also the classic tree view of a file server, but actually it's just index criteria. So as you can see here, DocuWare pool, the document pool company, I open this up. There is the company name Flying Tom. There is a project number and there is an offer out. And I want to save it in this so-called folder, but it's not actually a folder. What you see now, what happened, the DocuWare platform opens up this window. You see the document and you see it just took from this virtual folder structure, it just took the index criteria. It was the company name, it was the document type, and it was actually the project. For sure, you can create a PDF document, but there is no record about it. Maybe you do it and your colleague doesn't know about it. So now you receive a phone call from here, like in my example, from Mr. Thomas Rain, and he asks you for this proposal, and you never spoke to him. It was your colleague. How do I find it now? But it's already here and there. And you see, okay, Mr. Peter Sanders, he created the PDF, he sent out the email. So you have a perfect record about what happened. That's one thing. And it's also dramatically reusing the time, because you do not need 20 different formats, 20 different applications like a PDF generator here, an email archive there, another CRM system here, and you could reduce it all to just one surface. So you are in your document, you are always able to see what happened when, who did what when, and it's also probably archived. And as this is a centralized solution, you could just go everywhere and just open a web browser and you have everything in access. So that's really a fantastic benefit. And in general, seeing these processes like this approval process I showed you, this is also, you have a compliant process. So it's for tax auditing or for auditing in any case, that it's transparent how the communication worked, who did an approval, who accepted it, and making it very transparent and very fast. And from our customers, we got the feedback that they had a dramatic decrease of process time. So it was really like 70% less time they invested in manual document storage.
My other question is this application similar like Google Drive and all these Dropbox like that? Like if I save lots of document in it, will it be full? Do I need to pay or something to pay for the storage, to play the storage or something? Like, do I have to do that?
From a price model, it's similar that you have definitely there is a certain amount of storage included, and if you exceed it, you need to somehow book more storage, if this is the case, for sure. But it's not similar to the way you work with Google Drive or Dropbox, because Google Drive and
like
Dropbox
yeah.
is more or less just the same like a local hard drive, only that it's in the internet. But Google Drive does not offer you all the nice features that DocuWare gives you. So you do not have really a history, a version management, a sharing function, or a collaboration function, and all these things are missing. And it also does not have any workflows. So it's way more than that. So it's really document management and not just document storage.
Yeah, cool. Thank you.
Yeah, all right.
David, maybe I'm thinking about the workflow and how easy it is to design and drag and drop, and then we eventually can get into the Q&A.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, so there are. I would just want to show you a quick sneak peek behind the curtain, because what you've seen now is how easy it is to use DocuWare. But nearly as easy as it is to use DocuWare, it's also to configure DocuWare. So we have here, for example, there is this accounts payable workflow. This was the workflow we've seen. Actually, I'm the wrong user. I just need to switch because he has not the administrative rights to change anything. So let's have a look at the admin desk. Makes it easier to have a look at the workflow. So yeah, the workflow designer is a technical tool, so don't get shocked. It looks more technical than the client does, but this is also not for the standard user. It's this is something where either your DocuWare partner or maybe your IT department would create something. As you can see here, we have on the left side, there are modules you could put together into one workflow. And on the right side, you have like a flow chart, like Microsoft Visio, for example, where you put your workflow together. So this was the accounting workflow. So it started at one stage. Then we have here a field, invoice data. This was the automatic capturing. Then we have purchase data. This was where it looked up a database, an external database from an existing system to fill or to match the information between the invoice and the purchase order. Then we have assigned it to a role accounting. Then we had here a condition. If the amount of the invoice matches the purchase order, go the green line. If not, go black for a manual approval process, which starts with the first task, assign a cost center, which is the assign an approver in our language here. Then it started to forward it to the approvers. It was, as you can see from this little pictogram here, it was a parallel task where several people were active. So if I click on that, you see, check the invoice. You can send out a notification. This was what the email that Brian Ford received. And then it was split to two decisions, approve or reject. And it was assigned directly to a person. We have an escalation configuration, so means if no one really takes action on that, it will escalate as a reminder mail, or it could be reassigned to another person, or it could kick off another workflow, for example. And finally, we have exit conditions here. The amount of this document should be 0, or the open amount, then it's fulfilled. So you can see it's very easy, just per drag and drop, to build a workflow. So I can put another condition in and say there is a green and a red decision. I could name the decision whatever I like. So continue, and we have green is yes, and red is obviously no. And now I have a new condition, and I have like a rubber band here to connect it to another step. So if no, or if yes, then go to pay invoice. And if no, then go back to check invoice, for example. So now I put in another step in this workflow, making it easy to design your process like you need it.